congrats on a new project.
Thank you.
You know, we got to jump right into it. I mean, you say it all. I mean, when did you first say, you know what, I need to create this new project?
Well, you know, my manager, Billy, he kept saying, you know, when we're going to do a new project. The last project we had done, I think about a year or some change before this, was Big Boss. And it was also a visual album, storytelling piece, but from a different standpoint. And I was just kind of like, I don't really know. And really, I think I was just hitting up against like confronting my revelations and my evolution in this era of my life, from having my son and kind of all of the chaos that I experienced through that. And so I was like, kept saying I didn't know because I didn't know how to approach it. And then I thought, okay, let me just get in the studio with Taylor Parks, who executive produced the album. She's been my best friend, you know, honestly a family member since I was like 9, and obviously an incredible artist and writer. And so I said, okay, if I get in the studio with Taylor, I know I'll be able to talk about what I finally need to talk about, not just with myself, but also to continue to evolve my artistry. And yeah, so that's what I did.
It's interesting you use the word chaos. You know, why kind of, because, you know, obviously what you went through is very public.
Yes.
Why'd you decide to put it through the album? Because this is a kind of like a through line through your entire album, even though you touch on other subjects as well.
Well, I feel like I had to, because that's what artistry is. It's about, or I should say mine is about transmutation. It's about bringing closure or kind of like closing the loop on things. So to like go around it is not really me. Like I can't go around it. I didn't know how to go through it. So it now challenged me, not just professionally, but personally. But I have to address something that I would never address, especially nothing on an intimate level. That's just so not me. And so, yeah, but I knew that I had to, because now that it's become public, it's become a part of my work, and I have to respond to it as such. And that just caused me to have to grow, and I was willing to do that.
You know, some of my personal favorite songs on there, 125 Degrees,
hey,
Off Script, Misunderstood, and Unless It's You. I think those
are my favorites too.
Well, then we both have great taste. But you know, My Confession, was there any conversation of having Usher involved on that?
But the truth is, in Vegas we was already overboard because of you. Your projections, these are my confessions.
He did hear it because he cleared it. They cleared it. And he loved the song. I definitely could have heard him on it, but I also could have heard other women on it. You know what I mean? I could have heard a little Summer Walker feature, you know, a little Sierra, a little Tiana, you know, we're open, a little Mariah the Scientist. But I never really, you know, reached out about those. I just wanted to make sure I showed respect to Usher and made sure that, you know, obviously got to get the clearance for him to approve it. But it was my spin on something. You know, it was kind of, again, there's always a little funny with me. There's always a little satire. There's always a little levity or like a ha, you know, just because that's how I break the ice. So I think the fact that we decided to use that sample, but then use that also as the way I told the story about that night that everybody's heard about, you know, is a way of bringing levity, but also still bringing truth.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about like the writing process, like what was it like getting your feelings out? And I haven't seen the credits. I'm assuming you wrote a lot on the album. What was it like kind of just putting it all out there?
It was crazy. It was really crazy. I remember, so you mentioned Off Script and Misunderstood being one of your favorites as well. Off Script obviously starts the album out and Misunderstood finishes it, but we wrote them both in the same day. And we were just talking. I remember Taylor just looked at me and Taylor was like, so what's going on? And I said, Taylor, what you mean? She was like, you tell me. And I'm like, oh, and so I just started talking to her. She's like, how do you feel? And so I started telling her about where I am right now. And even my own personal confusion with that, my anger, my sorrow, my now disrupted parasocial relationship, the places that now I'm supposed to go that I never wanted or I felt I'd asked for, the betrayal of that, of such a sacred, you know, my relationship with my audience is so sacred to me. And I'm so careful about everything I share or everything I do because I respect them and I don't want to give them anything less than the best. But here it was that now that has now somehow changed, not with my input. And I have to figure out how to respond. This is off script.
I mean, what's it like kind of not being in control?
Oh, my
you know, because I can go down social media and sometimes it's not about your acting or your singing.
You know what I mean? It was really tough. But in that moment, it was like, well, this is what it's about. This is it. This is the conversation. This is what the song is. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, you know, call the lawyers, handle it. The money's the last thing we was worried about. The truth is we both was fighting for a child. So how we gonna figure this out? How? You know, I did not know. It ain't just about us now, though, because I let you get me pregnant. This is about a baby, and so all those emotions, when I tell you, if I had a recording, you would see that that's what we were saying. And then we came in the room, I cried, you know, and I'm like, oh, damn, I can't believe I was like, I was really in grief. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even realize I was in such grief from all of this because you know?
Right.
And so I was like, thank you for creating this space for me to share this with you all. And now I get to put that same emotion into a song, and I get to tell those people that's been watching me since I was 9, when I first was in that scene in Barbershop with Cedric, or when I was spelling in Aquila and the Bee, what's going on in a way that it can translate.
I think it's Act 3. I can't tell if that's his voice or his real voice or not.
It is. It's his voice. Yeah.
Any concern that this could stir the pot? I don't know if that's the appropriate word.
I think it will. But the great thing about it too, and what the project I think speaks to as well, is it's like reclamation of my own story. It's one thing when you're exposed, or if people are talking about you, it's not even something you said. And then it's another thing if people are talking about you and it's what you said or what you put out there. There at least is authorship there. That you know, you can't really control what people gonna think about it, but at least it's you. You know, if people dislike you, at least they're disliking you and not someone else. And so I think for me with the album, it's like I'm just Keke, hate it or love it. This is me, this is my story, this is how I see things, this is how I see my life. And it's funny, it's whimsical, it's heartfelt, it's sexy, you know, but it's just me. And I think that's ultimately what I made, also what, you know, the whole point of it too is making peace with just saying what you gotta say and letting it be that.
You know, obviously you've had success in so many different areas. What would success, and obviously this isn't your first album, but what would success look like to you with this project? How would you define it?
Oh my gosh, it could look like so many things, right? Because of what you just said. It could look like people, you know, loving the way that I rolled it out, that I produced it, that me and my team created it, and I get the opportunity to direct, right? You know, and produce other people's projects. It could look like me having a variety show called Just Keke, where I get to do sketches and music and storytell and bring Diva Girls back and continue their storyline. You know, or it could look like doing a world tour. You know, it could look like so many things, and I'm open to all of them. You know, I think for me, it was just like, as long as I know that I put my all into this, I know that I can't lose. You know, that's what, with everything I do. Even way back when I was doing Southern Belle insults on my Instagram page, people were like, now Keke, what the hell is this? And now she got her own books, you know, and all that stuff. So for me, it's just about doing the work, telling the story, and letting it take shape after that.
Well, lastly, you know, obviously you have several film projects coming up that I don't have time to talk about. I wish I could. But I mean, you want to give me more time? We can
fix it, Keke.
Yeah. But specifically, Spaceballs 2. What can you tell me? I know Rick Moranis is in it, and if you're like me, he was one of our childhood icons.
Man,
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I've talked about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids so many times. Like, when are we going to get something like that again? Like, I would live to be a scientist mama. Like, let me be the scientist mama shrinking the kids real quick. No, but yeah, so I'm very excited. You know, I'm working with Brian Grazer on The Burbs, which is an old movie he did with Tom Hanks years ago. So we're reprising it for Peacock as a TV show with Jack Whitehall. We play husband and wife. And when he brought the project to me, I was so excited because I grew up, and I'll be honest, it's probably a shame, somebody that loves satire as much as I do, that I was not well versed on Mel Brooks. But I came into that genre with the Wayans brothers. Like, I loved them growing up, from, you know, Don't Be a Menace to South Central to I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Like, they are just like, you know, everything to me, especially as it pertains to comedy and satire. They do it so incredibly. But obviously Mel Brooks is the father. of that genre. So to get an opportunity to do one of his pieces, it was just so exciting. And it was funny. The moment I started reading it, I'm cracking up, laughing, like just, it's the style of humor I love. But then also what I love about it, and what I think what Mel Brooks did, and what, when I talk about the Wayans brothers, what they did is like, satire is such a great vehicle for talking about the deepest things that you care about, like big themes, whether you deal with family or how you feel about society or what's going on in society. You get to have such big commentary, but you get to bring levity to it. And I think that this second Spaceballs does that as well, really well. And I'm excited for the new generation to get into it, because I don't know if we get as much satire as we should. I don't know if it's something that is as common as it was for me as a kid. And so I'm excited to see how they take to it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's really an honor for sure.
Awesome. We've been quite lovely. Really, really great project. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So are you. This was a great interview.
Oh, thank you so
you.
much.